Well, yes, military bases across Europe are on high alert after new intelligence warned of a possible terror threat. At U.S. European Command headquarters in Stuttgart, the Army garrison issued a community-wide alert that the force protection threat level was elevated to condition Charlie until further notice. Similar orders were sent to other bases throughout Europe. Officials say that it is not related to one single threat, but out of concern for various events such as the Euro Cup and the Olympics. All right, for more, let's bring in retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery. He serves as Senior Director of the Center on Cyber and Technology Innovation at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Sir, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. So for those not in the military, what does it mean to have the alert level elevated to force protection condition Charlie? How serious is this?
But this is well, first, thank you very much for having me, Tracy. And I'll say this is an unusual event. I mean, it happens every, 2 to 3 to 4 years, where through either a very specific threat or an aggregation of threats, we decide to raise the level of force protection at the bases. It makes it much more difficult to enter. It makes it extremely difficult for non-routine visitors to enter the bases. It raises the level of security forces on alert or on duty at any one time. You can only maintain this for a certain amount of time without having to bring out extra forces. So this is an unusual event, usually driven by a specific threat or a series of threats that in aggregate cause the regional commanders to raise the readiness level.
Yeah, and what kind of threat would trigger this response? Do we know?
So I think, a very specific threat would be some kind of intelligence was overheard of a threat to a specific region or base. And even if it's a specific base, you'd raise it throughout the region. But I think in this case, we're talking about an aggregation of threats. And that's the idea that there are many events going on in a region where there's already some anti-American thought or anti-military thought. And so you think about the background of the Russia-Ukraine war, Israel and Hamas, and you layer into that in Europe there is a major event with the 2024 Olympics coming up. Olympics are always something that bad actors think about interfering with. There's also a major soccer competition going on, the Euro Championship. And I think when you aggregate that together, they decided to raise the readiness kind of proactively.
Yeah, and what exactly does this mean for our troops? I understand those stationed at the bases, they're being told to be vigilant. What type of precautions are they being told to take?
Well, I think there's much more searching of vehicles coming on and off the facilities. I think there's everyone needs to have a more questioning attitude of anyone who confronts them off base and asks them to do something, or who for one reason or another comes into contact with the U.S. military that are not routine, friends or acquaintances. So I think there's just this higher level of situational awareness, a higher level of questioning attitude, and a higher level of security throughout the facilities.
What about here in the United States, these troops based here, are they worried about anything right now?
I think, geography does have an advantage when you're outside of, say, cyber issues. Geography tends to have an advantage for us. We have good allies and partners in Canada and Mexico and the Atlantic and Pacific oceans. But still, we have had a lot of people come through our border over the last, 8, 10, 12 years, but particularly the last 3 or 4. We have to be concerned that bad actors have gotten in. So I also think around July 4th weekend, we always tend to have a slightly higher level of readiness and concern about our bases, even here in the United States.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for weighing in. We appreciate it, and thank you for your service.
Thank you very much for having me, Tracy.